Most people take NAD boosters like NMN, NR, and niacin for the sake of longevity. But what if I told you they could actually ruin your sleep? A few weeks ago, my client was having exactly this issue. They were taking high-dose niacin for improving their lipids, and they had problems falling asleep for a few years. After they took a break from niacin, their sleep improved. In this video, I'm going to break down why NAD boosters and vitamin B3 can disrupt your sleep, and how you can take these supplements to actually fix your circadian rhythm. Niacin and other forms of vitamin B3 like niacinamide and NMN and NR are precursors to NAD+. NAD is a coenzyme that regulates energy production, circadian rhythms, and the metabolism. So you can quickly see why my client was having problems with his sleep. His NAD levels were too high from taking high-dose niacin for several years. He basically had too much energy, which is why he wasn't able to sleep 7 and 8 hours. And he did measure his NAD levels with a test, and his NAD was several standard deviations above the reference range from taking the niacin. But it's not that simple. NAD boosters can also improve your sleep if you take them at the right time. NAD is a circadian rhythm metabolite, and it's consumed by sirtuins. SIRT1 and SIRT6 are proteins that control the activity of circadian clocks, such as clock BMAL1. Basically, you need NAD for your circadian clocks to function properly. As a result, you have better sleep and more energy. At the same time, NAD production, specifically NAD recycling, is dependent on SIRT1, because the rate-limiting step in NAD recycling is NAMPT, which is a SIRT1-dependent enzyme. It's a feedback loop. You need NAD for circadian clock function and circadian rhythm alignment, which enables NAD recycling to happen. NAD boosters like NMN and NR can thus improve your circadian clock function, which then improves your sleep. In mice, nicotinoid riboside has been seen to enhance circadian clock function, increase REM sleep, and reduce NREM sleep. In humans, NR improves sleep efficiency and quality in people who have insomnia. In regards to NMN, then human clinical trials have seen that it does improve sleep. So these specific NAD boosters, NMN and NR, can improve sleep, but my client was taking niacin, which might be different. Nicotinic acid, which is niacin, in mice has been seen to increase NREM sleep by up to 120%, but that comes at the expense of REM sleep and deep sleep. You're essentially getting more shallow sleep. The doses that resulted in this were 250 mg per kilogram of body weight, which for the mice was around 6.25 mg. My client was taking around 2000 mg, which is still lower relative to body weight. For them, they would have had to take 15,000 mg to get a body weight equivalent dose. But it still might be that niacin reduces sleep quality, at least in the context of someone who already had very high NAD levels, such as my client. He took the niacin to keep his cholesterol in check, so in that kind of scenario, you would want to find another way to improve your lipids, by either reducing your niacin dose or finding other supplements that improve your lipids. So why did my client see worse sleep when taking niacin? The reason could have to do with the timing of taking niacin and the dose. As I said, his NAD levels were well above the reference range, because he was taking in a ballpark of 2000 mg of niacin per day. Now, it did improve his cholesterol, but it also raised his NAD levels too high, which disrupted his sleep. After he reduced his dose to 500 mg, his sleep did improve slightly. Niacin is also a vasodilator that increases flushing, increases skin temperature, and restlessness. That's another reason his sleep might have been worse. There's another critical component that I want to talk about, and that's the timing of increasing NAD. In mice, increasing NAD levels at their biological nighttime, which for mice is the daytime, worsens their health, makes them more insulin resistant and obese. Whereas increasing NAD at their biological daytime, which for them is the night, has the opposite effect. It improves their health. Mice are nocturnal creatures, which means that their biological active phase is during the night. Humans are diurnal creatures, which means that our biological active phase is during the daytime. And it means that the best time to increase your NAD levels, whether that be with a supplement, an IV, or doing things that increase NAD like exercise, the best time to do that is during the earlier part of the day, and definitely not at night. Interestingly, it's found that getting over 50% of your daily moderate to vigorous physical activity before 5 p.m. is associated with a lower risk of all-cause mortality and cardiovascular disease mortality, compared to getting it after 5 p.m. Getting physical activity at any time of the day is better than no activity. But getting most of your activity in the earlier part of the day might be better for your health than getting most of your activity later in the day. Now, there are certainly many explanations for this, but one of them could be that exercise increases NAD, and because of that, if you do exercise in the earlier part of the day, your circadian rhythms are also anchored towards the earlier part of the day, which overall improves your sleep. By all means, if you have to exercise in the evening, then it's better than not exercising at all. But if you can choose, then try getting at least most of your physical activity, like walking, cardio, or resistance training, slightly earlier in the day, over 50% of your activity. Overall, there are some nuances, as I said in the beginning. NMN, NR, and other NAD boosters can improve your sleep, but they can also disrupt it. Here's a quick takeaway. NAD is critical for regulating your circadian rhythms and sleep. However, having too high NAD levels beyond the normal range could have negative side effects, one of which is sleeping worse and shorter. Increasing NAD at the wrong time, which for humans is during the night, can disrupt your natural circadian rhythm and worsen metabolic health or sleep quality. If you take NAD supplements, it's better to take them in the earlier part of the day just to be safe. NMN and NR have been seen to improve sleep quality. Niacin appears to shorten deep sleep while increasing non-REM sleep. Niacin also can increase flushing and body temperature, which worsens sleep. Over the past few years, I've managed to take my sleep scores from around 75 to 100. Besides supplements, there were many other things that I did. Check out my video about how I did it next.